good day. I got a feedback from our last class that the video wasn't clear enough, so I watched it myself after the feedback, and I realized that it wasn't cool enough. Like, it was lagging, the voice is not, I was not in sync with the video and things like that. So this is a makeup video to make up for our last class, the one we had yesterday. So let's quickly do a revision, a makeup. So I'm going to create a folder here, and all our work will be done inside this folder. I'll call it makeup class. So what you're going to do is we go to our text editor. I'll create a new file, and this file will be called index.html. Whatever file I will be creating in this video will be created inside that makeup folder. So I'll go to the desktop, search for the makeup folder, HTML makeup class, and I'll call it index.html. So when you call a file the index page, index.html, it stands for the landing page for the home page of your application. So when you visit an application, if you visit facebook.com, that page that you're going to get to, unless you go to facebook.com, is the landing page, is the index page, is the home page. So another name for home page is the index page. So it's a convention that you call that page index.html, is a general convention. So also we'll be doing the same thing. We're going to call it index.html. So let's write some codes inside it. So I can say HTML codes. So we have this HTML codes as the title, so that when we run it on the browser, we find these HTML codes at the top of the page as the title of the page. So next is today we're going to be doing two things. Number one, we are going to be looking at the anchor tag, and we also be looking at the image tag, making two tags. We'll be looking at two tags today, the anchor tag and the image tag. So let's start with the anchor tag. The anchor tag, okay, this is the title. This is the title. So let's go back to our code. The anchor tag, let me just remove this for now. This is we call it anchor tag. It's used to redirect users to another page or to another section of your page. Is an hyperlink. We are using it to direct the user to another part of our to another page, maybe another part of our application, maybe to another part of our page, maybe even to an external page. But we use the anchor tag to direct users to another part, such that when a user clicks on whatever text we put here, let's say click me. So when a user clicks on this click me now, it's going to direct the user to another place. So that's the essence of the A tag. The A tag is used to redirect users to another part, to another page, to somewhere else. So next is this: where do I want to redirect the user to? So you define that as the href. So whatever you want to redirect the user to will be here. So let's say when the user clicks on this button, I want to redirect the user to facebook.com. So I'll put the URL of Facebook here, which is https. So when the user clicks on this, they will instantly be redirected to facebook.com. Let's see that ourselves. So when I click on this now, it's going to take me to facebook.com. Let's go back to our page and do something else then. So let's say I want to get another anchor tag. I can say click, let's open a p tag. So I can say click here to visit Twitter. So maybe when the user clicks on this here, it's going to take them to Twitter. So I can put an anchor tag here. So when the user clicks on this word here, it will take them to Twitter. So let's put the href http twitter.com. So when the user clicks on this here, it will take them to twitter.com. So let's refresh. So when the user clicks on this here, it will take them to twitter.com. Let's go back to our page. So this is what we can do with an anchor tag. But then we can do even a lot of things much more than this with anchor tag. So far, we've been using the anchor tag to navigate to other pages outside our application, to pages outside our application. But what we want to do next is we want to use it to navigate to pages within our application. So let's say inside this same folder, I'll create a new file by pressing Ctrl+N. Inside this same folder, we have a page called maybe About Us. Is about.html. So of course, most pages you have the landing page, then we have the about page, then you have the contact page. So let's say this is our about page, which is another page in our application. I'll call it about page. So let's put some text in the body. I can say here is the about page. We are taking HTML class. So this is the about page of our application. So what we want to do next is this. When the user clicks on this, so let's say visit so when the user clicks on this, we want to take the user to the about page. Again, we're going to use our href. So where do we want to go to? Now this time around, we are not going to an external page. The page we want to go to is within our application. It's within our application. So we are going to use what we call relative path. That is, let me explain this better. This is the index page. You want to move from the index page to the about page. So both of them are directly within the same folder. So that makes it easy for us to navigate. How we need to do is just to mention the name of the file, about.html. This is the index page, this is the about page. So we want to move from the index page to the about page. That makes it easy to navigate. So I will go back to the code and say about, that's the name of the file, .html. So when the user clicks on this now, it will automatically take them to the about.html. So we are currently on the about page. From the about page now, we want to take the user back to the landing page. Again, that's very easy. This is the about page. You want to move to the index page. So they are directly inside the same folder. Just mention the name of the file, index.html. So I'll come here and say on the about page now, I can say anchor tag, go back to home page. So where do I want to go to? I'll put the href and I'll say index.html. So let's go to the browser and see So when I click on this now, it will take us to the index.html. Now, there are some other instances whereby this the file you are navigating to may be inside another folder. Let's look at that together. So I will create a folder. And I will call that the pages folder. Inside this pages folder, then I will create the contact page. So let's do that together. So we'll come here and create a new page. We create it inside the pages folder. So we'll call this the contacts.html. So let's write our code there. I'll call this contact page. So we can see here is the contacts page. So what we want to do now is this. From the landing page, we want the user to be able to go to this file, to this contact page, contacts.html. So let's see how we can achieve that. Now let's see how it works here. We want to write a code that moves the user from this this index.html to contact.html, and remember that the contact.html is within this pages folder, meaning that we need to first enter this pages folder before we can see this contact.html. Again, we are here, we want to move to this place, we enter this pages folder, then we see this contact.html. So let's type the codes together. So we come here and say, maybe we can say, let's open our anchor tag first. So contact page visit, contact page. So when the user clicks on this, we want to go to contact page. So the first thing is this: from index, we have to first open this pages folder. So colon pages, then enter it and look for contact.html. So we have this. So enter pages folder, then you see a file inside it called contact.html. This is what this means. So let's see if it's working. So this is contact page. We have this. Here is the contact page. Then from the contact page, we want to redirect the user back to the landing page, back to our index page. So let's do that together also. So we can say open and contact. So we can have a text here called go back to home page. So href. Now let's see what we want to do. We are currently here. We want the user to move from here, then get out of this folder, then to come to this index.html. That's what we want to do. We want the user to move from this contacts. Of course, for the user to move from contacts to index.html, the user will first need to get out of the pages folder, then the user can now for the user to move from contact.html to index.html, the user needs to first get out of this pages folder, then the user can now see the index.html. So let's do that together. In order to get out of a folder, you use the // So what this is going to do is it will say get out of the current folder. So to get out of its current folder. So with that, it's going to get out of the pages folder. Then we can now move to the file we want to go to, index.html. So let's do that. Let's see if it's working. Boom, we're on the landing page. Let's get another file again here. and let's say um, content dot html. So let's move from this page also to the landing page. So let's just put some random text here. So we just have some random texts here. So we want to move from this page now back to the landing page. In the same way, we're going to say, hey, then go to the, we can say, home page. So when the user clicks on this, we want to go to the home page, go back to the landing page. Let's look at how we want to move also. We are currently here. In order to go to the landing page, you need to first get out of the pages folder. So we need to come here, then we can now see the index page. In the same way, we say // index.html. So this // you're saying get out of the current folder, then it can now go to index.html. So okay, let's add a link to so that we can go to the, let's go to the content dot html. This file cannot be found. Oh. Okay. So we're currently on the contact page now. So let's go to the home page. By clicking on this, it will take us to the home page. From the home page also, let's move to the content page so we can easily do that out. So just come back to the home page. We can say href, enter the pages folder, go to content dot html. You can say content page. So when the user clicks on, I think I made a typo error here. So when the user clicks on this, it takes the user to this page. So let's do that. Let's go to the browser, go back to the, click on this, we have here, then we can go back to the home page. So there may be some situations whereby you can be nesting so folders, like a folder inside another folder inside another folder, on and on like that. Let's create such scenario. So inside this pages folder, we'll create another folder. So I can call this second. Then even inside this second folder, we still create yet another folder. We call this third. So we now create a file inside this third. Let's see how it works. We are currently working here. This is our roots directory. Inside this place, we have the pages folder. Inside pages folder, we have the second folder. Inside the second folder, we have the third folder. So we now create a file inside this third folder. So let's do that together. I press Ctrl N, then create a file, keep it in the third folder. So I can say, what should we call it? I can say, let's call it template page, template dot html. So I can say template page. Open a Peter, just put hi and the template page. So what we want to do now is this. We want the user to be able to move from our landing page to the template page. So let's create href, href template page. So what we're going to do is this. Let's see how we want to move. This is where we are. We want to move to the template page. Meaning that we first open pages folder, then we open second folder, then we open third folder, then we can now see the template.html. Let's try that out. So we're going to say first open pages folder, from there you open second folder, from there you open the third folder, then from there you see a file called template.html. So click on this, we have the templates page. From the templates page now, we want to go back to the home page. Let's do that together. So from the templates page, we want to go back to home page. So let's say I want to move again. Here from this page, we want to go to the home page, meaning that we first have to get out of the third folder. When we get out of the third folder, we'll be in the second folder. When we get out of the second folder, we'll be in the pages folder. When we get out of the pages folder, then we'll be here. So we can now see the index.html file. So let's write our codes to do that. To get out of our current folder, we use the dot slash. So immediately you use the, remember we are currently inside the template.html file. So immediately you use the dot slash, it will get out of its current folder. Its current folder is the third folder. So that dot slash will take it out of its current folder, meaning that it will now come here. It will now be here because the dot slash will take it out of its current folder. It will now be inside the second folder. With another dot slash, we take it out of this second folder so that it can be in the pages folder. Then another dot slash, we take it out of the pages folder so it can be here. We can now see this index.html. So let's do that together. Another dot slash, this will take it out of the second folder. Remember, this will take it out of the third folder. This will take it out of the second folder. This will take it out of the pages folder. So once it's out of the pages folder now, it will be here. You can now see the index.html. So let's run that together. So let's go back to the landing page. So that's how you can, if your folders are nested in one another, then you can use this. Now all we've been using so far is the relative path. That is, we are moving from our current location to another location. Like we are using our current location to determine where we are going to. So that is the relative path. But then as you can see, this is not cool to the eye. It's not interesting. Like looking at this is not cool. So we want to look at what we call absolute path. With the absolute path, we won't need to be using this dot slash all about, because what that means is if you aren't careful, you can have up to 10 dot slash. If you have 10 nested folders, then you'll be having dot slash to be getting out of folders like that, and it will not be cool, not too cool to see. So instead, we can use something we call absolute path. And the way it works is this. When you are using absolute path, what you are doing is instantly you are going to the root directory of your page, of your application. This is the root directory of my page, this folder. So once I go to the root directory, I'm going straight to this place. From this place now, I can go to elsewhere. So with the absolute folder, we are going straight to the root directory of our application. Let's see how to use that. So instead of writing all these dot slash, we can make use of the absolute path. To use the absolute path, you put this. Once it sees that it starts with a slash like this, it knows that you are trying to use the absolute path. So instantly, it goes straight to the root directory of your page. So instantly, it will go straight to this is the root directory. Then it comes here. Then you can now move from here to other places. So I can now say look for index.html. So this is easier, and I think this is neater also. So we still have the same results. So I can go to the template page, then I can go back to the going straight to the C. It's taking the C as the root directory of my page. Okay, let's fix that together. Okay. Um, okay. What's going on is this. If you're on a server, the server will help us. Well, that's one of the reasons why I love using Visual Studio Code for this. No, once building your projects, this will work fine. You understand what I'm saying now? Open with code. If you're using Visual Studio Code, you can easily use open with code. This will help us create a server, and the server will now be the one to move us about. The server will be the one to move us about. So let's use Visual Studio Code to understand this. Just right click and click on open with code. So here is it. Okay, right click and click on open with live server. If you can't see this open with live server, you can come here and install live server under extensions. Search for live server. So then install it. Since I've already installed it, then we won't have installed. But if you are yet to install it, we have installed. Then right click. This live server will behave like your, as though you are serving it elsewhere, like as though you are hosting it somewhere. So whenever you make any changes, it automatically updates it also. It makes it live. Like once you change it, is load. So once you change it, it's going to automatically load it. So we have this. So you can go to templates page, then you can go to home page. This is working fine. So the reason is not working here is because it assumes that the root directory of my page, I said this will go to the root directory. It assumes the root directory of my application is the C drive. Of course, the C drive contains every other thing. So that's what's going on. But with the live server, it's working as though you are hosting it somewhere else. Like as though we are hosting this and it's working the way it will work on live as after hosting it. Don't worry, we're going to be doing hosting together in this stage also. We host our code somewhere and you understand this better. So this is how you do it. If you want to use the absolute part, just put this slash. This goes straight to the root directory of your application, and from that root directory you can now go to other places you want to visit. So what I'm just doing is from the root directory now, go straight to index.html. And like I said, the reason we have it here is because it assumes that the root directory is the C drive. So that's why we are using this live server, so that it can move from it can know that this is the root directory, and from there it can go to other places. So I will close the Visual Studio Code. This just to make us see how that works. So let's go back now to our text editor. That's the Sublime Text. Lastly, we can also move about on the same page. We'll be moving about to different pages. We want to move about on the same page. But before we explain that, I'm going to talk about the difference between ID, we have what we call ID, and we have another thing called class. ID stands for identifier. An ID is like a matrix number. It must be unique on your page. No two items must share the same ID. ID is meant to be unique. It's like a matrix number. So let's just create maybe a p tag, and let's give it an ID. I can call it ID my paragraph. Please, there should not be spaces here. Don't put spaces here. You can use underscore, or you can write them together like this. So I'm using this. ID shouldn't have spaces in between. Just write it in full. So here, ID my paragraph, meaning that on this page there must not be any ID called my paragraph. Even if I have another p tag, it must not be my paragraph. It can be anything. I can call it title, but it must not be my paragraph. No other element should have the same ID. Even if it's an input, no other element should have this ID. I cannot use my paragraph again. Just the same way, two students should not share the same matrix number. Same way also, two items on your page must not share the same matrix, the same ID, the same identifier. That is ID. Then another thing is a class. More than one item can share the same class. More than one item. So meaning that I can have a class here, and I can call this ID this class. I can call this class maybe my P. This can also be my P. The class can be my P. So this is fine. There's no issue with this. But note, ID is meant to be unique. A class can be shared. Now, having discussed that, what then is the usefulness of this ID and class? We'll be using it a lot when we get to CSS. We'll be using this ID and class a lot when we get to CSS. But for now, we only use ID alone. IDs and classes are used to target items. Just the same way I can say, all members of this class stand up, raise up your hand, meaning that I'm referring to everybody in that class. I want everybody in that class to obey that command. Do you get it? All members of this class stand up, raise up your hand. So everybody that is in that class, that owns that class, we stand up and raise up their hands. Same way also I can say, if you have this matrix number, see me. So meaning that only the person with that ID, with that matrix number, will see me. That's what we use IDs and classes to do, to target items. You can use the ID to target a specific item, and you can use class to target many items. So for now, we only be using the ID to target an item on our page. Let's see how we are going to use it. So let's say we have a lot of content on our page. So here we're going to let me just create a p tag, and inside this p tag, then we have a lot of items there. So let me just say, so let's say I have this content on our page. I have this random text. So let me just a random text. Press this. Okay. Sorry, let's quickly adjust that back. So we have this. The text we have here isn't enough. We want more. So I'll just add more text now. So just want us to have a lot of text on our page. If you are using Visual Studio Code, it's very easy to do. Just press lorem times 10, something like this. If you are using Visual Studio Code, just say lorem, maybe times 100. So press enter, it's going to generate random text that is going to be long. Like he's going to paste it 100 times or maybe 50 times. If you want it to be 50, so Lorem times 50, it's going to be 50 times. I don't think that is in Sublime Text. So let's just keep typing and typing and typing, copy and paste. So I think this is reasonable enough. Good. So we have this long text. Lorem just means long text, not just random text. No big deal with Lorem. So we have this long text on our page, and we can see we are moving from the top to the bottom using this bar to move. So what we want to do is this. Instead of moving it from using this bar, we want to use our ID to do this. So let's do that. So what we're going to do is I'll go to the top of this page. So we already have an ID here called my paragraph. So, but maybe I want the user to be able to move from the top. Like when they click on the button, I want them to move from the top to the bottom of the page immediately. And let's go to the bottom of the page. When the user clicks on something here also, I want them to move back to the top of the page. Do you get how that works? When the user clicks on something here, I want them to move back to the top of the page. Then from there, I want them to move. Oh, I need to remove this my paragraph. Remember, IDs cannot be shared. So when they click on something here, I want them to move to the top of the page. Then when they click on something at the top, I want them to move to the bottom of the page. Let's see how that works. So I can say anchor tag. I'll say go to top. Go to top. So whenever they click on this anchor tag, I want to take them to the top of the page. So I'll come here and say href. You first put hash. This hash means that you are using ID. It's hash actually means ID. It means you are referring to an ID now. What's the ID? What ID do I have at the top? I think we have my paragraph. So I can say my paragraph. So the way this is going to work is whenever they click on this now, it will go to the page, scan to the page and look for where the ID, this hash means ID, this smaller sign, it stands for ID. So whenever they click on this now, it's going to look for the ID called my paragraph, then take us straight to that place. So instantly, it will take us to this place. It will take us to this place. So let's just put a text inside this p tag. I'm at the top. I am at the top. So whenever they click on this, it will look for the ID called my paragraph and take us to that place. So let's see it work. Here is it. I am at the top. So let's go down. On get to the bottom of the page. Once you click on go to top, it will take us to this place. So can you see we are already at the top? Again, I will scroll down. Click on this. We are at the top. So from the top also, I want to be able to go down. So let's do that together. We go back to our code again and give any of the elements here an ID. I can give any of the, I can also give it to this href myself if I want to. I can give it to the href and call this button. You can give it any ID of your choice. So from the top now, I can now say go to bottom. I can create href and anchor tag. I will say href go to bottom. So where do I want to go to? Hash bottom. So whenever the user clicks on this now, it will go straight to the ID called bottom. So with that now, it automatically brings us here. It will bring us here immediately. So let's run it. So click on go to bottom. We are at the bottom now. Click on go to top. We are at the top. Bottom, top. Any question on that? I hope you understand this explanation of ID, using ID to move across the page. So having discussed that, let's discuss the IMG, the image tag. How to place an image on our page. How do we place an image on our page? Let's do that together. So how do they all these things? So let's see how to do that. I'll create IMG tag. Now the IMG tag is used to place an image on our page. So next is this: where is the image located? Where is this image that we're able to place on our page? Where is it located? That's where you put inside this SRC. So the SRC is like what href is for, is to anchor tag, the A tag. SRC is to the IMG tag. So where is the image located? So I'll go online and search for an image. I'll just say image of a dog. So let's say I want to display the image of this dog on my page. So I'll just right click on it. I'll click on copy image address. Copy image address. So with that now, I've copied the address of that image. Copy image address. So I can now paste it here inside this place. So this is the address. Then refresh on your page. Go back to your code and refresh. So can we see the image now? There is the image on my page. I can resize it. To resize it, I can give it a width and a height. Of course, you'll be using CSS to do all of this, but for now, let's see HTML. Height, I can say I want it to be 100. Oh, sorry. Height, I want it to be 100 pixel. Width, I want it to be 100 pixel too. So we have this height is 100 pixel, width is also 100 pixel. So refresh now. Can you see it has been resized 100 by 100? So that is how to use an online image on your page. So maybe I want to display this. I just say copy image address, then go straight to my code. So I will open the image tag again. The image tag is a self-closing tag, meaning you don't close it. You don't close it. It's a self-closing tag. You know, we discussed self-closing tag in our last class. So save. We have this. So you can also resize it. Height. So let's say I want this to be 200 by 200. Note that this height, the width, and the SRC, they are all attributes within the IMG tag. Again, the IMG tag is a self-closing tag. You don't close it. So it has been resized a bit. It's now a bit smaller. So that is the IMG tag. That's the IMG tag. So before I start this video, I'm going to do something else. Now, so far, the IMG tag we've been using, they've been online images, but let's say we have an image on our device that we want to display on the screen. Let's say how to use that, how to do that. We have an image on our device and we want to display it on the screen. So let's see how to go about that. So I will delete all of this, and so let's say on my device I have an image. So let me go and fetch a picture, and I think I have some pictures here. Okay, so I will pick the logo of my startup and I will display it on the screen. So HTML, yeah, what's this? Okay, so I've copied that image, then I can paste it here. I will name it to a simpler name. It's not good for your images to have spaces in between. I mean image names. It's not good, so I will remove the spaces. I'll just call it, this is the image you want to display, this picture. I think it's currently loading. You want to display this picture on the screen, this logo. So how will you name it to something? I will name it to medullary. So I want to display this image on my screen. Look at the properties. Right click on it, then click on properties. You want to check something again. The type. This is .png. Note the capital letter. This is capital letter PNG. So let's display that on our page. How we open the img tag. Then the SRC. Now look at something. We are going to be using relative paths. This index and this image, they are directly inside the same folder. So it's easy like that. We can say the name of the page of the file is medullary dot, not the capital letter PNG. So we have this. When we go to the page now, you can see it there fresh. And we have this. We can resize it by giving it a height and a width. So we have this here. But then it's not a good practice for you to just dump your image here. It's always good you create a folder for multimedia, maybe for files, for images, for folders, for pictures, for videos, for audios. It's good to create a folder for them to make your code, your application needs, just to structure your application. You don't just dump everything here. So I will call this images folder. So this is images. How we now move this file into this images folder. So we have it here. So what we want to do is this. We are currently inside the index.html file. I want to use the image inside this images folder. So it means that we need to first enter this folder, then we're going to pick this file. So let's do that together. So this will no longer be visible. It's not going to see this image again. We first open the images folder, then you can now pick this file. So we still have the same results. It's fine. So let's use another image again. So I will copy another image and paste it inside this folder. So I'll go straight to my pictures, then I'll pick an image here. I think I have some images here. So I'll have this. So I'll go straight to this place. Then I'll put it here. So I want to display this. So what I'm going to do is I will rename it to a simple name. So I can just say PIC pics. I can just call this pics. So I will right click, check the properties. This is .jpg, small letter .jpg. So in order to use, I'll go to my code now. img, first enter the images folder, then go to pics.jpg. So it's going to display it on the screen. Refresh. We have this. It's too big, so I can say its height 100 pixel, give it a width 100 pixel. So we have this. Before we conclude this part, there's a big thing I've been omitting, so let's quickly address it. Whenever you are using the img tag, always add what we call the alt attribute, which is the alternative. This is this. Sometimes the image here may not be loaded for any reason, maybe bad network, maybe this URL is not correct. Just imagine you have this, maybe I even misspelled the name. So There's no image called Medlery, like let's say Medlery. There's no image called Medlery. No image. So this, let's see what happens before adding this. I will remove this from now. I've, I've commented out. So let's look at this Medlery.png. Let's see what happens with this. You see, we just have this big box. Nobody knows what should be there. So the alt tag will help us with that. Sorry. Alt. I can see my Medlery logo. So what this means is, in case you are unable to load this page, in case the page is unable to load this URL, the image here, in case it's unable to load it, maybe you can't find it or whatever reason, it's going to display this text instead, so that the user can have an idea of what should be there. Even if the image is not loading, then the user will still have an idea of what should be there. So we have this. I think this is better because they have an idea of what should be there instead of just a big box. That's one. Two is this. It also has another advantage. Even if you're able to load it, there are some people that are viewing your page and they are using screen reader to view your page. They're using screen reader. So those people that are using technologies like this, they may not be able to see the content of your page. They're able to use your page with the help of screen readers. If you don't put this alt tag, they won't know what is there since they can't see the content of the page. So there's no way they're going to know what should be there. But with the help of screen reader will now read it out to them that this is Medlery logo. It's going to read the content of alts to them for them to understand what should be on this page. So meaning that the alt is serving two purposes. Number one, if it's unable to load it, it's going to display this content, this text. Number two, for those that are using technologies like screen reader to visit your page, so it's going to help them to use your page. So I think that's all we discussed in our last class. This is a makeup class. Thank you for calling my attention to it. Enjoy your day. Have a great day.